Welcome to another terrifying story.
Above ground, New York City pulsed with its usual rhythm. Cars honked, lights flickered, people hurried across intersections glued to their phones. But something subtle had shifted. The city felt off. Small things. Blinking subway signs in stations that had been decommissioned. Screeches in tunnels with no active tracks. An uptick in missing persons cases, most of them MTA workers, homeless people, or subway buskers. Nothing that made headlines. Nothing that stayed in public memory for more than a day. As if the city itself was erasing them. Natalie emerged from underground at dawn. She didn't remember how she got out. 1 minute she was running through a corridor soaked in blood-red light, the next, she was standing at the edge of a construction site in Brooklyn, covered in grime, bruised, her coat torn, her shoes missing. Construction workers stared at her as if she were a ghost. Paramedics were called. She didn't speak. Couldn't. The words wouldn't come. At the hospital, doctors ran scans. She was malnourished, dehydrated, and sleep-deprived. But the most unusual note in her chart was this. Pupils remain dilated even in bright light. Subject reacts to stimuli with delayed motor response. EEG shows irregular frontal lobe activity. Natalie was released after 48 hours. She refused to speak to the press. But at home, in the dim safety of her apartment, she began to hear them again. The whispers. At first, just in dreams. Then while awake. Soft. Sibilant. Incomplete sentences. Sometimes a name, Jake's. Sometimes a phrase, they're walking now. And shadows moved where light should be still. She tried ignoring them. Until the mirror incident. She was brushing her teeth when she saw movement behind her. But her reflection stood still. Unmoving. Its eyes, wrong. Wider. Watching her. Then, her reflection smiled, though she hadn't. She smashed the mirror. That night, she found something slipped under her apartment door. Jake's old MTA field notebook. She froze. She hadn't seen that notebook in over a year, not since he'd moved to Queens. Inside were pages covered in increasingly frantic handwriting. Symbols. Tunnel blueprints. Sketched faces with hollow eyes. A line repeated over and over. They're inside now. They wear us like skin. One page showed a crude map of Manhattan's subway system, but layered beneath it were lines that didn't exist on any public record. Unmarked tracks. Dead zones. Tunnels that looped in spirals and symbols instead of destinations. In the center, circled in red, was a label. The route. Natalie knew what she had to do. She packed lightly, flashlight, camera, audio recorder, notebook. She dressed in black. At midnight, she returned to the subway, descending alone at the abandoned Chambers Street station. As she stood on the empty platform, wind rushed through the tunnel, but no train came. The lights above her buzzed, then flickered out. Only the darkness remained. And the whispers returned. Clearer now. You're almost home. She stepped into the tunnel. And the wall behind her closed.